Hey, you guys, I just wanted to test to make sure you can hear me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, Julie.
Thank you.
We are? Julie, are you on with us? Can you hear us?
I gotcha. Thank you for making sure. Hello, everyone.
All right. It's always fun to see a full house at board meeting. Welcome to everybody tonight who is in attendance. Welcome to everybody who's following this meeting online. We're happy to have you with whatever method you're joining us with. Today is Tuesday, July 6th, 2021. We're going to officially call this meeting to order tonight. Let's start with stating who's here with Clark.
Clark Nelson.
Chris Wynn.
David Garrett.
Nicole McDermott.
Connie Burgess.
Terry Bodden.
Rich Nye.
Go, Julie.
Julie Jackson.
There you go. And Karen Winder. All right. Do you have introductions, Smith? Okay. So we're going to go to our Pledge of Allegiance, which tonight will be given by Mitch Nurden, who is principal of Skyline High School. Mitch.
May the audience please stand and repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mitch. We're going to turn the time over to Chris Nguyen, who's going to offer our reverence this evening.
Hi, thank you, Karen, for this opportunity. I was thinking about what reverence I wanted to do tonight, and I had a couple things in mind. And unfortunately, due to a tragedy in our school district family, I would like our reverence to be a moment of silence for Dr. Bill Kinley's wife, who was murdered this weekend. For those of you who don't know him, he's a valued employee of ours, and we're so sad for his loss and for the tragedy that his family has had happen to them. So if I can just request a moment of silence for them, I would appreciate the audience's participation in that. Thank you.
We all know Bill. Bill is a director here at the district office, and Masako will be greatly missed. And so we send our love, we send our appreciation for the work he does, and just our absolute condolences on the heartbreaking developments of the past few days for him and his family. We're going to move on to the recognition section of our agenda. We'll turn the time over to Ben Horsley for those.
And I'm going to turn the time over to Mitch Nurden again, the principal from Skyline High School.
Thank you so much, Mr. Superintendent, Ms. President. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm going to read a little story. In the last 10 years, men's 5A tennis has been dominated, mostly by Brighton High School, with Skyline nowhere in sight. Around 2014, Skyline started slowly making its way up the ladder. Then 2017 happened. The men's team took state for the first time in many, many years. That year, there were several seniors on the team and other younger players that showed some promise. In 2018, Brighton took the state title, and rightfully so, since Skyline was rebuilding their team. Here comes 2019. Skyline swept the region, winning all of its matches thanks to a handful of freshmen and our seasoned players. We were set for a great place at the state draw. In state competition that year, our first singles player bowed out of the competition in that bracket. We would miss those points our team needed to win state. Skillfully, 3 of our other teams took first place in their draw, and 1 team lost in the semis. Skyline edged out Brighton by 1 point and was awarded the very state title. It was a very exciting win. We were prepared to come out strong the next year in 2020. Well, we all know what happened that spring. Tennis was canceled due to COVID-19 virus, and our boys were upset and not being able to defend their title. But they were determined. They continued to work hard during the off season, putting time in to advance their skill level. This past season, we had 4 players return from the 2019 championship team as juniors, and another 3 players joined the varsity team as sophomores and freshmen. They were excited and itching to serve up some aces and crush those volleys. During regular season play, the Skyline varsity and JV teams were crushing their competition. We didn't have a team with just a few good players. We had a team of amazing talent across the board. Region came, and both our teams took first place. Their countless hours on the court were paying off. Then state competition was upon us. Everyone knew it would come down to Skyline versus Brighton in the race for the 5A state title. Our players breezed through the first 2 rounds of play on day 1. Then, on the final day of state, the pressure was on, and our boys knew they had to bring all of their hard work and talent to the courts for the last 2 rounds of state. Our entire team made it to the finals on the final day of state. And although some final scores were not what our outstanding competitors may have wanted, each win was counted, and points were awarded to the Skyline team. In the finals, Skyline only needed 1 win to beat out Brighton. We didn't just win 1 of those matches, but 3 of them. The final team score was Skyline 24 with Brighton 8 points behind. The largest lead in the last 5 years of state play. Our Skyline Eagles rose to the occasion, competed like gentlemen, and took home the 5A state title once again. Congratulations to our entire Skyline team, parents, and coaches. What an exciting season. We're definitely looking forward to another spectacular season in 2022. Let's hear it. I'd like to introduce our head coach, Ms. Lisa Coleman Taggart, and she will introduce those athletes that were able to be here today.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight. It's kind of fun that we get a little bit of recognition. And I want these gentlemen to know how much I appreciate their hard work, their ethics, their integrity, their behavior on and off the court. And again, their hard work goes a long way. It pays off not only in athletics, but in their education and academics. And I'll just introduce them. We have Ethan Green that plays our #1 singles. He's also nationally ranked. Come on up. Sorry, I'm just looking to see who's here tonight. So we have Gunnar Waller, who's our 3rd singles, and Michael Churchio, 2nd singles. And then we have Kyle Rasmussen and Dean Weaver that play our 1st doubles. And Drew Wardrop, he's our rep for our 2nd doubles. The youngest on the team, by the way.
With COVID protocols, we've relaxed the handshaking of the board, but would you mind turning around and waving at them, and they can wave back? And if you would come up here to the center of the dais, I'd like to get a picture with the coach and the team. Come on up here, guys.
Congratulations, you guys.
Another round of applause for our
Are any parents of these student athletes in the audience? We would like you to stand up and be recognized for all your hard work and support.
For our next recognition, I'd like to turn the time over to our former principal at Olympus High School, Steve Pershawn. I don't know what he's doing now, but
coming to board meeting now more often. And it's my great pleasure to be here tonight, members of the board and members of the superintendency. And as my last official act of Olympus, I get to brag about an amazing student. Camilla Lunt from Olympus High School is awarded the 2021 Sterling Scholar in Family and Consumer Science. There's only 13 Sterling Scholars along the Wasatch Front, and Camilla is one of those 13, so enormous honor. Camilla has a long list of accolades that helped her propel towards this prestigious award. Camilla received the Gold Award in FCC LA Region Star event for her Recycle and Redesign project and business plan. As part of her Recycle and Redesign project, she made wool fingerless gloves out of sweaters recycled from thrift stores and local closets using creative embellishments to add to the gloves, giving them a variety of appearance and function. She has also served as the FCC LA chapter president, where she organized and participated in projects for the community charities focusing on children. She has been a student teacher in our high school preschool program, where she taught children lessons that she created, and has taken every early childhood education course offered to her at Olympus. Her FCS skills also include fashion design, sewing, craft creations, and baking. Camilla is well-rounded and also finds time to do the following. I'm not sure how, she must never sleep. Teach private and semi-private swim lessons to children, serve as a senior Be Strong officer, junior class president, and a sophomore class senator. She is an Olympus High School yearbook editor, served on Holiday City Youth Council, been a principal dancer for the Community Princess Party event for 100+ children, and she was a member of our varsity golf team and also an academic All-State, and our golf team took 2nd place this year in state. Camilla is a scholarship recipient for the Freedom Foundation's Spirit of Young Youth Leadership Program at Valley Forge, is a 4.0 GPA student, and is a member of National Honor Society and Spanish National Honor Society. She has traveled to 26 countries and 21 states where she's been able to learn the needs of different cultures and do service projects for them. An example is when she visited Chile and met Haitian refugees that had left their country and were working hard for a better life. They were truly kind people. As she became aware of their needs of the Haitian people, she decided to recycle used pillowcases by sewing them into dresses for the young Haitian girls. Camilla states, "My love for family and consumer science influences almost everything I do. I love that I'm given the opportunity to learn important skills and use them to innovate and create. Recently, I made a goal to make and give away 150 cupcakes and baked goods with a kind note. It was so fun to use my love of baking and to help others feel appreciated." What an amazing young lady, Camilla Lund.
I was just going to ask their parents to stand up, but they better. They get to come be in a picture. That's even better. Thank you, and also Skyline Tennis Team, thank you for representing our district well. We're super proud to have students like you guys out there representing our district. Wow, did you have any other comment, Ben, with the recognitions? All right, okay, thank you for those. We're gonna move up the consent agenda and info item and final action items on our agenda, starting with consent. This is part of a lot of the information on consent agenda or award of contracts, administrative appointments, and things like that. Board members have had this agenda since Thursday for their review. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the consent agendas on this month's.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the table to approve the consent agenda as it was given to us. Any further concerns or questions, board? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. With that, there's some new administrative appointments. We'll turn the time over to Superintendent Nye for those.
Thank you, Board President. As part of the consent were the administrative appointments and transfers. To give us a little bit more detail, I'm going to invite Leslie Bell and John Welburn up to give us that information.
All right, good evening, President Winder. Welcome, Superintendent Nye and Board of Education. Tonight, I am very excited to announce the new principal of Granite Connection High School, our alternative high school within the district. The new principal will be David Beck. David, will you stand? Let me tell you a little bit about David. Dave began his career as a teacher at Pleasant Grove High School, where he taught social studies, special education, and he was also the student government advisor there. We stole him from Pleasant Grove and brought him up here as an administrative assistant at Cypress High School, and now he's currently the assistant principal of Granger High School, now to be the new principal of Granite Connection High School. So once again, let's give him a round of applause. And Dave, will you please introduce who you have here with you this evening?
Sure. My wife Christine, and then Larson, Lynn, Jane, Brooks, and got one to talk about.
Awesome, congratulations.
Members of the board and Superintendent Nye, it's my privilege to introduce to you a couple of new appointments that we've made this evening. I'd like to start with Aaron Bodell. We could have Aaron stand. Aaron has most recently been serving as the intern assistant principal at Matheson Junior High. Aaron was originally hired as a CTE teacher in our district at one of our high schools, and then served as a CTE specialist at the state office for 3 years before he came back to us as an intern. Aaron will be serving as the new assistant principal at Cypress High School. Aaron, will you take a moment and introduce who you've brought as your guest this evening?
Yes, I brought my wife, this is Lindsay. We left all of our.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, next up we have Jen Johnson. Can we have Jennifer please stand? Jennifer is currently an assistant principal at Kearns High School. She was also an intern assistant principal at Kearns High. Prior to her moving into administration, Jen taught at Taylorsville High School for close to 17 years. Jen will be serving as the new principal at Bonneville Junior High. Jen, who'd you bring with you?
So I brought my husband Jesse. We left our kids home too. 10, 12, and 14. I'm not that kid anymore. And then this is my big sister Miley and my younger sister Janelle, and they both came tonight as well.
For those of you that don't know, Miley was just recently the principal of Kearns that retired. She referred to as her big sister, but thank you for supporting. Jen, you've been mentoring her well, and we appreciate it. Unfortunately, Matt Shelby could not be here tonight. He will be appointed as the new assistant principal at Hunter Junior High. We actually stole Matt from Canyon School District, where he has served as an assistant principal both at Brighton High School and Hillcrest High School. And he actually has 12 years of educational experience, and we're glad that we could steal him away from Canyons. And so he will be at Hunter Junior High. Just as a note for the board, you received this information already in your packet, but for the public that may be watching, we did have a few transfers. Ben Johnson, who has been serving as the assistant at Cypress, will be at Westlake Junior High next year. Sarah Wall, who's currently at Westlake Junior High, will be serving at Kearns High School as an assistant, and Chad Reinhardt, who is currently the assistant at Hunter Junior, will be the assistant at Granger High School. Thank you.
Thanks, John, and congratulations again to those appointed. Okay, we're going to head into our single information item this evening. It's a summer school report. JD Talbot, where are you? There you are. JD Talbot's going to just give us kind of an overview of that program.
Good evening, board, and welcome Superintendent Nye. I'm JD Talbot, the Director of Family and Community Engagement. Excited to be here today to talk to you about our summer school initiatives that we have going this summer. I do want to start by saying there was not a more perfect way to exemplify the work done by Granite District as a whole as the work that was done collaboratively to set up summer school this year. It was a huge lift for a lot of people, from our teachers to principals, and then to figure out the logistics district-wide as far as transportation, what we were going to teach, how we were going to teach it, to our food services folks, and I'm leaving out a lot. I mean, Don and Ben with the crossing guards. It was just a huge lift and a great collaborative effort to make this happen. You can go ahead. So for the presentation tonight, we're going to start with 4 areas, but going over the guidelines that were given to the school, jumping into how we were going to measure the impact of the efforts that were being made, and then jumping into some very preliminary data. And then I'm going to end by sharing a couple examples, one of our secondary and one elementary example of some great work that's being done. Go ahead. So for the guidelines that were given, we asked all schools to have a face-to-face option for and open to all students that wanted to do it. And then also we wanted to target our efforts on individual students that had some learning loss because of the pandemic. So we were going to focus our academic efforts on literacy and numeracy and the elementary level, and then our secondary level was focused on credit recovery. Go ahead. Some special considerations we asked schools to make as they were planning for summer school to embed in their programs was obviously mental health supports, enrichment activities, any STEAM-related learning, and then anything else that provided opportunities for high levels of student engagement. As far as measuring the impact, obviously we were going to track daily attendance to see which kids came to program, well, first signed up for program, then attended program on a regular basis. But then also our student assessment department will take those students that attended on a regular basis and look at their data compared to students that did not and see that impact. And then we will be able to make adjustments for future out-of-school learning time. Go ahead. Again, these numbers are preliminary. These are some approximate participation numbers. I think it's special to note that in a high school setting, there might be 1,700 students, but they could be doing multiple credit recovery sessions or packets to make up that. So that's reflective of the number of students, but not necessarily number of credits being recovered. And that we'll go over in the next slide here. So this was, again, preliminary data for the month of June. The total credits earned and broken down by our high school aged student groups. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question there?
Absolutely.
You guys hear? That's full credits, not quarter credits. Is that right?
Well, it's broken down into quarter, but yeah, so for example, the total credits is 946 and a quarter. So
oh, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
yeah.
1 year is a credit, correct?
Well,
or 1 quarter is or is the 0.25 1 quarter?
1.25 is a 1 quarter credit.
So okay.
You're quizzing the elementary guys, so.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, so this part I really do know. The Targeted Early Literacy Project was put together by our curriculum department. This was tailored to specifically reach our K through 3 students, but knowing we wanted to include more than just K through 3 students, there were intervention materials given to our 4 through 6 students. So with the students, they were screened and selected based on need. They were given a pre and will be either have been given if their program has concluded or will be upon the conclusion of their program, a post-assessment. All the teachers that participated in this targeted intervention were trained and the instructional materials were provided by our curriculum department. So again, that was part of that big undertaking of making sure they're getting teachers trained, getting students pre and post-assessed.
Since you know about elementary. So you say some of them have not concluded. I thought the funding, correct me if I'm wrong, ended on June 30th. Are there still some programs that are continuing, and in what way are we funding those?
There are a very few programs that are continuing. Most of those are in partnership with outside organizations to do that. But most concluded at the end of June. Okay, go ahead. So just to highlight a couple of the amazing programs going, and we could be here all night if I were to do all of them, but I just picked one elementary and one high school. South Kearns program, they did target the specific students based upon the screener for the literacy program. They doubled down on what they were doing with providing these additional learning opportunities in science, art, and physical education. Anything that they're doing in their program, any enrichment, anything is directly related to the core to support that learning loss. And then this is an example of a school that's in partnership with Salt Lake County Youth Services based upon needs in their area to provide an extended day. So their program is a full day program and not a half day based upon feedback they got from their community. And Brandon, we can jump to highlight Cottonwood High School. Again, they've offered credit recovery to all students. They have a Jumpstart Jumpstart Summer School for multilingual learners. This is face-to-face instruction in math, writing, language arts, biology, earth science, and world civ, where students are able to make up or gain additional credits depending upon the needs that they have. And they're also partnered with Promise South Salt Lake after-school program to expand the services that they're providing and to meet the needs of their students. And that's all I have for you tonight. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thanks, Clark, did you have one?
Yeah, let me just jump in really fast. How does this year's experience compare to prior years, this year of post-COVID?
Well, the sheer number of programs as we required schools to offer for those, it's immensely more than we've ever done. Historically, schools are able to do that with different funding sources if they have those funds available. But as far as overall numbers, I would guess that we were probably 10 times more programs than we have in a typical year. And the student number obviously reflects that as well, just way more students engaged than we ever have in summer school.
Did the YMCA also help or put in an extended day or whatever with?
All of our partnership after-school program providers always provide summer programming. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head specifically where the YMCA is doing that, but I'm imagining that they're all partnering with our school. We asked all of our partners to support what we're doing instead of compete with our school programs, just to make sure kids weren't missing that high-quality instruction from teachers to go to summer school programming. So.
Thank you. Thanks, JD, for that overview. Julie, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to.
It's not a good connection, Julie. Can you try to restate that? Did we lose Julie?
I just wanted to.
I'm not sure how to interpret what you just said. I think you said you want to thank JD.
She probably told me I need to learn more about secondary ed.
Probably. Maybe you should take that to heart. No, just kidding. Thanks, JD.
Yep, thank you all.
Awesome. All right, next on our agenda, we have two final action items. These two policies were reviewed extensively in our June meeting. And policy changes go through two steps. We have a first reading where we flush out a lot of the details, make some tweaks to it, and then it comes to us in the following board meeting as a final action. And so that's where we find ourselves today. We'll turn the time over to Doug Larson for both of these policies.
Thank you, Board President Winder. Board members, we had some robust discussion last board meeting regarding the two policies that were before you. The first one is naming of school and district buildings, campus venues, and mascots. And after that conversation, we made some revisions to that policy, particularly it turned out to be some wordsmithing to make sure that we understood what the authority of the board was with respect to naming school buildings versus how the district would go about the process the district would use to go about naming venues and mascots and other things that weren't necessarily quite as large of a decision, I guess. And then the implementation of those things. So you can see on your agenda the changes that were made to those policies, and I would be happy to respond to any questions that you have. Oh, I might add that we had no other input on those two policies subsequent to the board meeting last time.
No public input.
None.
All right. Any concerns, questions? We've had this, we've reviewed. Doug did a good job, in my opinion, of incorporating all of our changes. So if there are no comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
A motion to pass as a second reading the naming of school and district building, campus venues, and mascots.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to approve as a second reading or final action of the approval of the naming of schools and district buildings, campus venues, and mascots. It has been seconded. Any questions, concerns, board? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. And then the next policy is Article 2L, which is implementation of standards and objectives. And you'll recall that based on some new requirements from the Utah State Board of Education, in our policies, we needed to have defined what risk of academic failure was for our students. We located that definition in this policy because this policy is related to helping students to succeed, all students, including those who are at risk of academic failure. Therefore, we thought it would be a good place to, a good situs for this particular this particular concept. Actually, Dr. Bates and I sat down and reworded that initial paragraph a little bit based on some questions and concerns that were brought up last board meeting. Hopefully, you've had a chance to review that, and I'd be happy to respond to any questions that you have. Oh, I will mention, sorry, Connie, thank you very, very much. Connie, she identified 2 typos, which I'm very embarrassed about, I'm not gonna lie. But one is that we need a letter E after the letter D, which is something that I probably should know. So we will change the letter, the lettering to make sure that it's consistent. And then we will also change the word rational to rationale. When I was writing the policy, I wasn't very rational, and I need to fix the word rational to actually say rationale. So those are the 2 things that will be changed. They are just simply clerical errors and will be fixed in the policy.
Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the implementation of standards and objectives for a policy change.
For a second.
As a second reading.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table to approve as a final action or second reading of the implementation of standards and objectives. Any further questions, concerns? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, board members.
Thanks, Doug. There's a delay, so I have to wait for Julie to vote. All right, we have, now we're going to move on to the next agenda item, which is our patron participation time. We're not actually required by law to allow public comment in a public meeting. The main purpose of this meeting is to conduct our board business in the public eye, so that you guys, everybody can stay informed on how we're voting and what policies are going through and information items are being shared. However, our board feels really strongly that we do want to hear from our patrons, and we want to hear a variety of perspectives on a variety of issues. But to be clear, this is not open comment time. Only those who have signed up in advance are able to participate. We don't, as a board or district, decide which topics patrons can speak about. They're free to speak about whatever is on their mind. And our 3 slots are opened on are offered on a first come, first served basis. So only those who have signed up tonight in advance of the board meeting will be allowed to address the board. This evening, we have had our 3 patron residents sign up to participate. They will be allotted 5 minutes each. Participants, if you can come, state your name and address. Our policy is pretty straightforward that you do need to be, we want to hear from those that live or are patrons of our district, that live within our boundaries or have students participating in some of our schools. We actually are unable by law to get into a discussion about any topics raised because open meeting law, we cannot discuss anything not listed on the agenda tonight. We are simply here to listen and are genuinely excited to hear different perspectives on that'll be represented tonight. But please, regardless of your personal opinions, please be respectful of the patrons here at the pulpit or at the microphone podium. That's the word I'm looking for. And refrain from both audience members and the patrons speaking we need to refrain from personal attacks, insults, defamatory or slanderous comments about any individual or group. Anyone who attempts to disrupt our meeting with uncivil, inappropriate, unprofessional behavior will be immediately asked to vacate the district property. So let's be kind and decent to each other, hear other perspectives. You may not agree, and that's okay, but we do need to allow those 3 people their 5 minutes to be heard, and it's really hard to hear them if people are shouting over them. They deserve their time. So let's remember, most importantly, we're modeling appropriate behavior for our children to participate in our system of government and our republic. So with that, we have our 3 people who have signed up. We're going to go in this order: Lisa Davis, Eric Heeden or Hedden, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. And our final one is Ray Duckworth. So Lisa, if you want to come forward, we'll give you, where are you? There's Lisa. Now, when you come over here, the microphone, you need to put it right down close to you, not only so we can hear, for our online audience to hear as well. You almost have to eat the microphone for us to hear. Yeah. So if you could state your name, address, and then we'll give you your 5 minutes.
All right. Lisa Davis, 3300 South Redwood Road. And do I just start?
Yes,
go ahead. Good evening. I'm here to speak for the 11 mothers and fathers like Sophie Anderson, Angie Van Leeuwen, Bernadette Brockman, Mike, and others that the district has tried to silence. I'm not a teacher, a senator, or administrator, but I'm a concerned mother of 7 who is upset with the way my son, as well as my 11 friends, have been treated. We all have our own choices and beliefs, and that's what makes America so great, is that we are able to believe and follow as we so choose. I understand that masks were mandated. However, my 9-year-old son was seen by a doctor and was exempt from wearing the mask. He was picked on, being called idiot, dumb, weird, and also slapped a few times by peers because he simply was not wearing a mask. Bullying is never okay. Yet in this instant, it felt that it was okay for him to be bullied because he was, quote, doing something wrong. Even though he had a doctor's note, no kind of bullying is okay. This was not handled well through the school, and my son was treated as an outcast, as well as the 11 mothers and fathers that the district is trying to silence. Wearing the mask caused my son multiple bloody noses and headaches, yet asking for the mask removal for children is wrong. We have no idea the long-term effects wearing these masks will have on our children and ourselves. How do we expect children to grow and learn socially when they couldn't see their friends' faces for an entire year? How does one know if a child is upset or happy if you can't see their face? What's been happening with Granite School District is not okay. Not allowing people to voice their concerns is not okay. We will not be silenced, and we will continue to fight for our children and future generations to have the most success. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Lisa, for your comments and for being here tonight to share those with us. Next, Eric. Come on up if you would. Is it Heeden or Hedden? Just curious. Heeden. Oh boy. Sorry about that. I really got that wrong.
It's okay. It's a Swedish name. So I come here today to talk to you about something that has gained a lot of ground in this country. Something that I feel is a threat to the basic principles of this nation is founded on. What I'm talking about is critical race theory. You probably have been told by many sources that critical race theory is just a way to recognize racism in our nation's past and examine how it influences and exists in our institution today. This is a lie. Now, I did not come here to explain to you what critical race theory really is. You are smart enough to do your own research and to form your own opinions. I came here today to ask you 6 questions. And I urge you to write them down so that you can go home today and ponder them and study. And so I'll just start. So question 1, can you define critical race theory? What is it exactly? Question 2, do you think it is racist to judge somebody solely on the color of their skin? Question 3, and this one I would need to do some explaining. Who was the architect of critical theory? Now, what I mean by critical theory is the grandfather of critical race theory. So first there was critical theory, then came along critical legal theory, and then eventually critical race theory. And I'll just answer that a little bit. Critical theory was brought out by Max Horkheimer in Germany in the 1930s. He was a Marxist, and his goal for critical theory was it to be a Marxist-oriented political philosophy. Question 4, what is the goal of critical theory and critical race theory? And I will answer that by saying it is Marxism, to tear down the social institutions and beliefs adhered to by the so-called oppressed. Question 5, can you describe the difference between equity and equality? Now this one hits home because I went on your website and there are some instances where the word equity is used. And I think that it was misused. It should have been equality instead of equity. Equality is equal opportunity, whereas equity is equal outcome. And finally, question 6. Do you believe America is fundamentally good or evil? I'll answer that myself, saying that I believe that America is good. Some flaws, maybe, some mistakes have been made, but it is fundamentally good. I urge you to take time to research this damaging theory and take action right away to ban these destructive teachings in Granite School District. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric, for being here tonight and sharing your thoughts and perspectives. All right, next we have Ray. I'm assuming Ray Duckworth.
Hi, I'm Ray. My name is Ray Duckworth, and I'm a community member here. I grew up in Granite, and I have a kid that goes to Granite. So I'm just going to speak to you all for a few minutes, I guess. First of all, I wanted to welcome the new superintendent. Hi, how are you? Make sure you know me, because I go here. Okay, so I just want to ensure and remind you that I need you to create a safe, inclusive environment for children here. And when I say this, I am addressing Black and brown children because they are being left out of the loop right now. So as far as that goes, this includes creating CRT and having this conversation. I know it's very hard for some of us. But the removal of SROs is also a thing I want you to consider, considering that that can cancel the school to prison pipeline, and we no longer need that, right? We don't need kids going straight to jail. So removing the SRO officers is something I'm very passionate about, and I would hope that you would consider that. And I also want a better policy where you can allow community members to come and give talks here. I don't feel that it's fair to have 3 people in this room, considering how many people are here today, and speaking on these type of issues in this school district. So that's something I did want to touch on. But going back to CRT, so I can actually answer all 6 of those questions if you'd like me to. If not, I can do that. Would you guys like me to answer all 6 of those questions? Because I'm educated enough to do so.
It's however you want to take your 5 minutes. It's up to, I'll let you be
Okay,
in charge
so
of that.
the one thing that I would just want to address from his speech up here was the difference between the words equity and equality. So he says it's equal opportunity, right? And then the equal outcome. That is precisely the problem. Black and brown children do not have equal outcome. That's why the conversation of I'm not done. That's why the conversation of CRT has to happen. because there needs to be an understanding that race takes place in real life. It does. Because Granite School, I also want to make a point here, looking at your pamphlet, Granite School is very diverse, but this board does not reflect that. So I don't think that you guys also understand that also. So I want to be that person that you guys can come to. I will be your black card if you need that. But I need you guys to understand, my child goes in this school district. So I'm going to be a very familiar face. I smile a lot. But I need this to be a very considered thing. I need you to take that in, because CRT it defines who I am. And understanding the conversation behind CRT, that would make it so you would understand obstacles that I overcome and obstacles my friends overcome and my family and my children, okay? So I need you to very much value the conversation behind CRT, even if you don't agree with it. And you probably don't agree with it because nothing affects your race. And so that's how that turns out. So if you guys want, I can answer all 6 of those questions. In the white hat, you know me. Yeah, I can answer all 6 of those questions if anybody is interested, but I think I've pretty much made a point, right? Okay, cool.
Thank you, Ray. Hey, nope. Hey, nope. We're not going to allow, once again, we're going to be decent and civil in this meeting. If you can't be that way, we're going to invite you to leave as we wrap up our meeting. I was just, before that little outburst, I was going to say how proud I am of the audience right now. And this is proof that we can get along when we're on the opposite side of the issue. So thank you to all 3 citizen participants this evening. We thank you for sharing your perspectives. Genuinely, we know we don't know everything. We don't. And so that's why we invite public comment to help fill us in on some things. Thank you. We're going to conclude public comment time. We're almost done with our agenda. We're going to move on to our superintendent report.
Thank you, Board President. It's an honor to have taken the oath earlier today, and I've been in this seat for a few days now. And what I have appreciated is the welcome that I've received from community members, from staff, from different students, just interested in identifying who they are and what their interests are. And so as I, at the end of the first day, I sent out an email to all of our employees, and I recognized a few things. One, how challenging the circumstances are that we had engaged in over the past year operating schools under COVID-19 regulations, procedures, protocols, expectations, and how proud I was of the education community for rallying and being there for our children, advocating for our children and meeting our children where they're at and helping them succeed. And the second part of that is great optimism for what this next year holds for the Granite School District. There were lessons learned last year that have made us a little bit wiser, a little bit stronger, and how we appreciate and not take for granted certain things. And so it's with that great optimism that I am looking forward to what this next year holds in the Granite School District for all of our children and what it means to meet them where they're at. I also appreciated the responses that I received to that email. Several employees responded with that same optimism and recognition that last year was hard. And one of the reoccurring themes, though, that came back in those responses was, welcome to the Granite family. And I got to say, I was moved by that because Granite School District is a family as an extension of the families we serve. And I've said it on a couple of occasions, and it's worth repeating, if not just for anyone that might be listening, but for myself, is that constant reminder that we partner with parents to raise children. And for that reason, our role, our responsibility is second only to the home, but part of the home and how we meet the needs of children. And so, as was mentioned, as this family of ours, our hearts are broken right now for one employee and their family and the community that affects. And as we think about Bill Kenley, the wife that he lost, the mother of their children, the children's mom lost, our hearts go out to them, and we'll be there to support them. And we'd also ask that we all respect their privacy. They are certainly grateful for the outpouring of love that has come to them, and at the same time, they need this time to just feel of our love and our support, and not necessarily our questions or any other intrusive but well-intentioned engagement with them. And so it is with great sorrow that we do more than that, and thank you, Board Member Chris, for leading us in that moment of silence. So as we move forward, as we do it, and we will be most effective as we do it together. An old proverb says, if you want to go far or fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I'm looking forward to going far together in the Granite School District. Thank you, Board President.
Thank you, Rich. We're lucky to have you. All right, Clark, board reports. You want to start?
Sure. I don't have much to report on, this being my first summer time period. But I just want to say I appreciate your words, Rich, regarding your optimism for the future. I share in your optimism, and I'm very excited about what lies before us as a district and as a community. My precinct that I represent has several new principals that have just begun their new efforts this week, and I'm looking forward to meeting with them and partnering with them, as you alluded to, as they move forward in new roles this fall. So thanks again. It's great to be with you, Rich, tonight.
I think you looked at my notes, Clark, because I'll echo some of his sentiments. Just welcome, Dr. Nye. We're very excited. I love your optimism. I hope we can all use that in our lives right now. Also, the new administration transfers that happened today affected also some of my precinct. I'm very excited about. I think we grow principals at Cypress and assistant principals. So I know a lot of them, the transfers, which is wonderful to see. Also, I've been able to volunteer in our school pantry this summer, and I can attest to the school summer school program that's been going on has been very well attended at Cypress and other schools, and very grateful for those who made that happen for our students. We know the loss is there, and it looks like some good credit recovery happened, which is great. And with that, that's all I have for this summer. Thank you.
Nicole.
Can I just say ditto and then be done? No, I welcome Dr. Nye. We're excited. Everybody's asked, so what do you think of the new superintendent? And like, he's only been here for 5 days, so. But no, I am looking forward to this. I'm very excited as we went through this process. We were really excited about having you be the one to take the lead here. So looking forward to great and wonderful things. And I wanted to also, I know JD left, but just say thanks to everybody who did work so hard with summer school. My kids, my one kid, my reluctant reader, she was the one that I enrolled in summer school because she's a reluctant reader, but she's sharp as a whip, but she loved it. She ended up loving it, going from I hate this mom to, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And the things that put her over the top were the PE, obviously, but also our STEAM, all the STEAM stuff that they did. And that was just so much fun for her and to get involved. And it was such a great opportunity for them to enrich. I know I talked to some other people who had kids in it. And so just thanks to all the teachers who took some of their summer. This was a month of their summer and really helped our kids out some of that, recovering some of that learning that we had, that setback. I also was able to attend the IBOC / Granite Junior Youth Symphony / Granite Senior Youth Symphony concert. My kids did participate in that, but it was fun. The Senior Youth Symphony usually goes on tour in the summer. They decided not to do it this year, but it's just a summer program that they run in June in the mornings. And and they go and they practice music, and the IBOC one is the introductory one where the kids get to go and learn their instruments, kind of get a jump start if they're in 6th or 7th grade, and the other ones are for the junior high or the senior high school students. But it was really fun to see, and amazing. It always amazes me how much they grow in just that month time. So it was really fun to be there at Cottonwood High School. It was last week, and to see what they were able to accomplish. Always a fun thing, and to, again, those teachers and the dedication that they have to that. So thanks.
Yes, we're welcome. We're really glad that you're here and accepted the position. I also want to say thanks for the summer school. I had some grandchildren in it, and they were so excited to go every day. I just can't believe, and told me a little bit about the activities, and I'm so pleased that we were able to do that, and hopefully there's money that we can continue to have a summer program for those students who need it. Thanks.
All right, welcome, Dr. Nye. I think you can see that we're all very excited to have you here and continue to work with us and continue to build on the great things that we've done in the district. So we're glad to have you here. Also, in regards to USBA, I've talked with each of you about the Leadership Academy that's coming up in September, and ask you to be able to let us know tonight if you're interested. Now, the emphasis will be for new board members, which we have 3 that have not attended that. And they only have so many slots available. So if you can let Stacy know tonight as soon as possible, if you can be to that, we'd appreciate it. And the rest of us, well, I guess I get to go because I'm on the board of directors. So what can I say, you know? But and I'm on that committee. So if it's boring, you can yell at me. All right, but let Stacy know tonight. That's September 16th, 17th, and 18th. Dr. Nye, I know superintendents go to that. I don't know if they have slots available or if you're on a first come, first served basis like some of us. But we also know and respect your time with your family on weekends. So that was the main thing. We have JLC coming up in August, and that's let me see here. I didn't have that one pulled up, but that's in August. I don't know who our people are that are going to represent us there, but that's on August 19th or not, August 20th in the evening, and 21st, where we'll actually vote on some of the recommendations. Mm-hmm. Who is supposed to go to that meeting? Do we know?
Well, I don't, we have 2 delegates, and I'm trying to remember who they are. We can look that up.
Yeah, we just need to be aware
I don't
of
have that memorized.
Especially the most important one being on the 21st, where I don't know who they are.
We'll get the proper notices out.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
let them know that. So, but it's been a great summer. I've enjoyed driving by, and haven't actually gone in, but seeing the number of cars and seeing the cross guards at the schools for the summer school activity, it's been really cool. So, but that's all I have.
Julie.
How's my connection?
Good, we can hear you now.
Great. I just turned off my video, hoping my connection would be better. Dr. Nye, we're so thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting our position and for applying for it. I wanted to just say thank you to all. I can hardly see how many people are there, but I just think it's really inspiring to see how many people will show up to
Julie, we just lost you.
Try to be engaged in making sure. Darn.
Keep going. You're kind of in and out. We'll try to interpret.
Shoot. I'll just say what I have to say, and hopefully you'll get it. I appreciate so much collaboration, and thank you those of you who are showing up to so that we can continue those conversations.
If left to interpret, I think she's saying thanks for those who showed up, and she looks forward to continued conversation and open dialogue with them.
And she missed sitting next
All
to
right,
Connie
Julie.
and I.
Did I get it right? Thumbs up. Good. Awesome. My interpretation skills are on point tonight. Okay.
See you, Julie.
Thanks for joining us via Zoom or whatever we're on. All right, I just want to add my sentiments. We've all welcomed Rich. I've already had numerous conversations with him. You know, I'm learning that I think he has just about everything memorized. I asked him a question and he could give me the code with the number, and I'm like, what? You know, so he can just rattle that kind of stuff off. He's very, very smart in many different areas. But the thing that impresses me most is he's in it for the kids. At the very bottom line for all of us, and hopefully that's exactly why we're all here, is the bottom line. We love and care about our kids, and we want what's best for them. We want to provide the best education we can for them, and that's what impresses me. He has a lot of impressive things, but that's on the top of my list, is he's in it for the right reasons. I want to add my thanks to our teachers for surviving a really difficult year, in fact, the hardest year in their career. And I just sincerely hope that they are putting their feet up somewhere and sipping a drink and refueling so they can come back next year, next month actually, and hit the ground running and be recharged. On the drive in, I kind of thought about where we were last July compared to this July. And last July, we had extra board meetings, in fact, because we were we were kind of in the midst of COVID. We were trying to figure out our plan to go back to school, whether to go back to school. Is it a hybrid model? Is it in person? Is it distance? And all of those different options on the table. And frankly, there were sleepless nights for us. Those were hard decisions because we knew it affected families so deeply and students' outcomes and achievement possibilities greatly. And so I'm optimistic. I'm grateful that it's July 2021. We are where we are. Hopefully the worst year is behind us, and we can be optimistic moving forward and charging. I'm just really grateful to look forward. We need to look behind and learn those lessons and carry with us, but we need to also be willing to turn around and mostly look forward, incorporating those lessons along the way. So I am grateful for that. And we've already mentioned Bill Kenley. Our thoughts and prayers once again are with him and his family, and we do ask that everyone respects his privacy, but also keeps him in their thoughts. And we feel of his loss as well. That is all I have this evening. So with that, I will wait for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for being here again tonight.
Thanks for coming.